Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to do something absolutely incredible. We're going to take the ancient Buddhist psychology of chitta, which basically means consciousness, and we're going to treat it like a massive, highly detailed video game multiverse. Seriously, if you've ever wondered how your mind actually works on a really granular level, this ancient framework maps it out with the precision of a master architect. Okay, let's dive right in. I want you to take just a second and really think about this. How many player modes or, distinct states of mind do you think you have in your internal inventory right now? Like you can be happy, sad, focused, distracted. You might guess you have maybe 10 or 20 core moods. Well, let's dig into the source material and see what it actually says. If we look at the ancient text called the Abhidhamma, the number is actually staggering. It outlines 89, and if you expand it out to the highest levels of meditation, up to 121, distinct types of consciousness. It turns out we don't just have one single mind, we actually cycle through a massive, rotating array of highly specific mental states. And the text takes this even further. These 89 to 121 types of consciousness operate across 31 different planes of existence. If we think about this in video game terms, it's like they're entirely different dimensions or completely different servers. Depending on the exact consciousness you cultivate, you are essentially logging into a totally different level of reality. To help us navigate all this, here is our level select screen for today's explainer. We'll quickly cover the 4 zones of consciousness, then jump into the everyday sense sphere, look at unwholesome mind states, break down the 8 flavors of greed, and finally talk about leveling up your mind. All right, starting off with Section 1, the 4 zones of consciousness. Taking a macro view of the mind, the universe is neatly organized into 4 primary zones. You've got the sense sphere with 54 types of consciousness across 11 planes. Then you level up to the fine material sphere with 15 types, and the formless sphere with 12 types. Those are states of super deep meditation. Finally, you reach the supermundane, which breaks outside the planes entirely. But for today's gameplay, we're going to focus purely on that very first row, the sense sphere, because, well, this is where we live out our daily lives. Which brings us to Section 2, the everyday sense sphere. Welcome to the Kamavachara. This is the specific zone where human beings, animals, and certain higher beings hang out. This is the realm of sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and touches. And wow, just look at this map of the sense sphere, straight from our source material. It looks incredibly complex, doesn't it? It's like staring at a massive endgame skill tree for the very first time. You've got all these branching paths, different categories, dozens of nodes. But don't panic, we're going to break this down into really easy bite-sized pieces so you know exactly what you're looking at. Okay, so those 54 sense sphere types are divided into 3 main factions. You have 12 unwholesome types, 18 rootless types, which are basically just functional things like basic seeing or hearing, and 24 beautiful types. Notice anything interesting there? The beautiful, wholesome states actually outnumber the negative ones. But to really understand how our minds get us into trouble, we're going to focus all our attention right now on those 12 unwholesome types. Moving right along to Section 3, unwholesome mind states. So back to our gaming terms, the akusala, or unwholesome states, are basically your mind's debuffs or negative status effects. Whenever we're suffering mentally or causing trouble for ourselves or the people around us, our mind has locked into one of these specific modes. And looking at the root causes of our problems, out of the 12 unwholesome states, a whopping 8 of them are rooted in greed. Only 2 are rooted in anger and 2 in ignorance. Greed takes up the massive lion's share of our negative mind states. We are literally hardwired to want things, and this system maps out exactly how that wanting happens. Let's break that down in Section 4, the 8 flavors of greed. Zooming into a feeling we all know intimately, just wanting stuff, the text breaks greed down into 8 highly specific combinations by mixing and matching 3 simple variables. It's kind of like character customization. Every single time you experience greed, your mind is making a selection from 3 either-or choices: feeling, knowledge, and action. Let's check out the first variable. So the first variable is feeling. Does this greedy thought come with an active hit of joy? Like when you are absolutely thrilled to buy a new pair of shoes? Or is it a neutral feeling? This is when you want something, but you're just kind of meh about it. Think about mindlessly doom scrolling on social media. You want that quick dopamine hit, sure, but you aren't exactly jumping for joy while you're doing it, right? The second variable is knowledge, specifically regarding what they call wrong view. Are you totally clueless that your greed might be harmful? If so, that's acting with wrong view. Or are you acting without wrong view? Meaning you absolutely know you shouldn't be eating that third slice of midnight pizza, you literally know it's a bad idea, but you go ahead and want it anyway. And the final variable is action. Was this greedy action unprompted? Meaning you had the natural impulse completely on your own. Nobody had to convince you to want the thing. Or was it prompted? This happens when a friend nudges you and says, "Hey, let's skip work and go to the beach." Or a really clever, targeted ad convinces you to buy something you didn't even know you wanted 5 minutes ago. Now, when you lock those three variables together, it maps out the exact 8 types of greed-rooted consciousness defined in the source text. Just look at this list. You could be joyful, completely unaware it's bad, and do it unprompted. Or maybe you have a neutral feeling. You fully know it's a bad idea, but a friend prompts you into it. That's number 8. Every single time you want something, without fail, you are booting up one of these 8 specific mental programs. It's wild. Finally, let's hit section 5, leveling up your mind. As totally fascinating as those 8 types of greed are, remember, they're just one tiny little neighborhood in this massive multiverse map. We absolutely do not have to stay stuck in those unwholesome states. Right next door in the sense sphere are 24 beautiful, wholesome states of consciousness. These are states rooted in generosity, loving kindness, and wisdom. And if you really level up your mind through focused meditation, you can access the fine material and formless spheres, the jhanas, which are these massive, expansive states of peace and concentration that literally elevate your consciousness to entirely different planes of existence. So, I'm going to leave you with this final challenge. The next time you catch yourself really wanting something, whether it's a new game, an extra dessert, or a flashy car, stop for a second and analyze your own mind using this exact framework. Were you joyful or neutral? Did you know it was a bad idea, or were you clueless? Were you prompted or unprompted? Map your own consciousness and see just how well you know the multiverse inside your own head. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and keep exploring.